Here we are, the Red River Rivalry Week. Kwame Cavil, one of the Red River Rivalry legends, Longhorn for life. Kwame, does this week, every October, what is the main flashback you have of that game in Dallas?
Ooh, the main one?
Or that you revisit every time?
Coming out of the tunnel. There's several, but there's several. But the main thing that'll never be taken away is coming down that tunnel, and like when you first leave, you get your pregame speech from your coach, and you walk down that tunnel, and you walk out your locker room, and you see OU over there, and they're talking mess and doing all that, which is different because in high school you didn't really experience that type of deal. Sorry about the mess, but you really didn't experience that type of deal, and seeing that and those looks when you walked out the locker room weren't happy looks coming from them. It was like we're about to kick your butt, and then walking down the tunnel and seeing that stadium split in burnt orange and maroon or whatever nasty color that is on the other side. Still, you could. It's still a hatred for those guys. You know what I mean? No, but just seeing that and seeing that thing split is just an experience, man. And hearing that crowd, the crowd. If any player would tell you, the fans and the crowd is what you miss outside of the camaraderie you get with your boys. You know what I'm saying? But hearing that crowd go, yeah. You'll never ever forget that, man. That's intoxicating.
It is one of those experiences that I said, you probably said numerous times, that the Red River Rivalry, regardless if you're a college football fan or not, you needed to experience it once. And man, it's every year. It's the first time I'm going as a fan since 1992. I've been to 17 of them. But, I had other obligations.
Right. You actually had to work, right? You had to get there and go to work, right? So, no, man, the other experiences is just not only playing, talking mess to the opponent, winning, of course. I didn't lose. My experiences there, we always came out with the victory. But also was the funny story. Coming into the stadium, the OU fans, they greet you.
Yeah, they do.
It's not pleasant. And being a high school a freshman, and you going up in there and you're on the bus and you happen to look out and you say, wait a minute, that's not supposed to be like that. They're not supposed to moon us on the way coming in here. And so that happened. And hold on for a second. Come on in, D. One of my students. But just seeing that was just outrageous, man. I was like, oh my God, like they really don't like us. Like, it's a rivalry, but that's your first inclination that, oh, it's real out here. Like they really hate you. And it's crazy, man, just being a part of that.
To paint that picture that Kwame is talking about, it is the most bizarre piece. You take that main drive through the state fairgrounds, and I think it's about 9:15 in the morning for 11 a.m. kickoff. It winds through. And I know my first experience was it was something on that part. Right. And the OU fans were allowed to walk up to the bus, and they were rocking.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
If you were to say how many 65-plus-year-old women were giving you the universal #1 sign on the drive up, how many would you say you saw at minimum?
Oh my God! Not only the universal #1, but some gluteus maximus was being showed out there too that I didn't care to see. And that was I'm telling you, man, it was the universal #1 and the gluteus maximus that I was like, oh, this is a true rival. Like, this is a rivalry this is what that feels like, right? And then when we used to play A&M, it was a different rivalry.
Yeah.
It was like, it's hard to explain. It was like, it was spiritual in the rivalry with A&M, in the sense that it was like, because we're playing on Thanksgiving, so that's a whole holiday in itself, and the warmth of that. But it was like that, like it was like for OU is like a friendly dislike. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't like them, but like we don't, it's like, if they go off, like, I'm not like, for Oklahoma, like I didn't like them. I didn't like competing against them. But if they went off and represented us, I wasn't upset about it. But A&M, it's a hate there too. You know what I mean? It's a different level of hate. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Some people may think may flip that. Like, that's maybe my view. It may be a flip, but I don't know. I have a deep family history. My cousin went to OU, played offensive tackle for OU, named Ben Cavil.
Okay.
And, yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He ended up playing for the Baltimore Ravens with Priest Holmes, by the way, when Priest was at Baltimore, before he got traded to the Chiefs. They both came in as rookies. And but Ben, I remember identifying Ben being out there at Oklahoma, because my 3 top schools were Oklahoma, Texas, and Miami when I was getting recruited. And story about that, it's crazy how it's that rivalry. And my mother and father went to school at Oklahoma.
Oh my God, Kwame, things I was not aware of.
Yeah, so when I was supposed to go to Oklahoma coming out of high school, because my cousin went there, my mother and father had went there. For my mother finished, my father did not. He was there, but they were there. But they used to root for OU, like with the Barry Swisher days and Jamil Holloway. Like, so I remember that TV being on and people like going crazy over there. And I grew affinity to OU for a little bit. And then during my recruiting days, I fell in love, like, as I got older, I fell in love with that 91 team and that 96 team with, and I was playing safety. So Chris Carter, Westbrook, Tajay, Trey, all these guys are my brothers now, and I love them to death. But I looked up to them, like I idolized them. I even in high school, I wore the high socks with the spat because I was trying to be Chris Carter. You know what I mean? Like, because I kind of felt like that's where I was going. But long story short, so my recruiting, so OU comes in and brings some coach. I can't remember his name. I think he was a D-line coach. But he came to the house. They did a house visit before Texas did, because they were really on me strong. They wanted me to play linebacker. And I was kind of feeling OU, but I was really intrigued about this Texas situation, because my good friend and coach at the time ended up being my coach, Randy Rogers, was recruiting me from Texas at the time. And Texas wasn't on me like OU was in Miami. OU and Miami were on me heavy. Coach Coker was recruiting me out of Miami. So as it came down to cutting time, trying for decision time, I went to my visit to Texas and I had a blast. Okay, I had a blast. And let me retract that. Before I went to UT, before I went to my visit, Randy wasn't really on me, and OU was. So I said, Randy, I was a very good basketball player. I said, Randy, come to my basketball game. Just let me show you something. And he was like, you can play basketball? I was like, and at the time we were like 25-1. We had a good team come in my senior year.
At Waco High.
Waco High. Yeah. And we were pretty good. And so we were playing Temple, which is Waco High's rival. So I knew I was going to do something special because we were pretty good. And I said, come to the game. He was like, all right, well, I'll come. Randy, like, I'll come. And so he comes, and I do a windmill on the break, like crazy, like something stupid. And I seen him stand up out his chair, like, and I was like, got you. Now I know you want me.
Offer me.
Yeah. And from then on, He was calling me every hour of the hour, trying to figure out which way I was going. And then finally, when I went on my visit, I was scheduled to go to Texas and then OU and then Miami, and just in that order. And Texas, I went on my unofficial. Me and my dad drove down there. I had a good time. And Coach Blake got word of that I went to the visit at Texas before I chose Oklahoma. And he was like, he gave me a call. He was like, "Are you coming?" I was like, "To the visit?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll be there." He was like, "No, are you committing? You need to tell me if you're committing today or you don't need to come." And I was like, I'm not. I was like, "Man, I'm not committing to anything that I ain't came on a visit." First, he was like, "Well, I know you coming because your cousin came down here, your mom and father." He was kind of like pressuring me to come to OU, and that rubbed me wrong. And I was like, you know what? After I got off the phone, I was like, nah. I was like, "Coach, I need to weigh my options. I can't just like commit to you." She's like, "All right." He was like, "Okay, I'll give you a day." So then he hung up, and right after that, I called Coach Coker to see if the recruiting visit for Miami was still on schedule, and he told me that because I'd already received my tickets, and he said that no, we don't need you to come anymore because we got somebody. We found the safety that we were looking for. Ooh. And out of curiosity, it happens as recruiting. Out of curiosity, I was like, "What?" I was like, "Who is the safety?" And he was like, "Some guy named Edward Reed, Edward Reed Jr."
That worked out well.
So in my mind, I was like, "Who the hell is Edward Reed?" Like, it sounded like some scrub. He was just a Hall of Famer. He was just a Hall of Famer.
A future NFL Hall of Famer.
All-time great. And then once he said that, I hurried up and called Coach Mackovic, and I said, "You know what?" Because Coach Blake kind of rubbed me wrong. I didn't like the pressure. He kind of assumed that I was going to be at OU because my cousin went there. And I didn't like that. And I had such a good time on the 40 acres, and I was, it was a great rapport. Like Wayne McGarity was my recruiting host. Now, Dwight Kirkpatrick was supposed to be my recruiting host, but he pawned me off on Wayne. And that's how me and Wayne got cool. I kid you not. I can't make this up. So then I called Magman. I was like, "Hey, man, I'm coming." He was like, "You sure?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm coming." So then the word got back to Coach Blake. He calls me and cusses me out. He said, "Yeah, no." He said, "Hey," he's like, "Can I speak to Kwame?" And I was like, he was like, "Let me tell you something. You just made the worst decision in your life. You ain't gonna be shit. And every time you play us, we're gonna beat your ass." And he hung up. Click. I was like, "Oh, snap." I was like, wow.
The complete opposite happened. He got
I was like, wow. And I hadn't signed anything. I just committed to UT. And I don't know. I guess things were different then. You would think he would try to woo me out of my commitment. Nah. He made it worse. Sorry about that. I got to plug my computer back up.
Oh, no. And that's the funny thing. You say that because Blake was a great recruiter for before he took over after Snellenberger.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting fired, man. I mean, before Stoops was hired.
Right. Now, rest in peace, because I met him after that. Yeah. Great guy, cool guy. And I mean, he did his thing at Dallas. He did his thing in Oklahoma. So he was a great guy. But just that story, I remember asking him about. I was like, "Man, you cussed me out, right, when I didn't come?" And he was like, "Did I?" Hey, this is the funny thing. He was like, "Did I?" He didn't even remember. That's how mad he was. He was probably so mad at the time. He was like, "I'm about to call him cussing out." I was like, "Do you know you cussed me out?" He was like, "Man, I'm sorry."
That's the bizarre thing about this rivalry, man, because it all begins and ends with those recruits, and everybody knows each other. I mean, Oklahoma has a ton of Texas kids.
Yeah.
And you look at the rosters now, Kwame. Same thing, but then you have one of the better quarterbacks to come out of the state of Oklahoma, who's a legacy of a former OU quarterback, Casey Thompson. There's so many storylines, but that's why we love this game so much. you look at that and you look at what OU's bringing, it brings the best out of good players. Legends are born. You were a legend in this game.
Well, I thank you for saying that, man. It's for real. No, usually, just as athletes, you are humble, So I was always told this, and I tell my players this. Even though I'm not coaching, but when I did coach, when I train, I tell these guys all the time. I guess they still are my players, regardless of coaching or not. They're my babies.
Forever.
But I tell them, forever. So I tell them, even the guys I teach. So I tell them that. So what I tell, I'm doing it. One of my students. It never stops, man. It never stops, man. But I tell them, I say, good players talk about themselves. Great players, other people talk about them. You know what I mean? And I think that's true. The older I get, and when I do these interviews or I hear people talk about me as a player, it's always, sometimes it's uncomfortable receiving that praise, in the sense that, when you were in the midst of doing it, you were just going as hard as you can. And now that you're older, it's gratifying, humbling, and uncomfortable sometimes just to hear people talk about you, the glowing light. But it all wraps up in feeling good. But it's just that weird feeling like that moment of time when you were there, now in the moment that you are in, you get to look back and reflect. It's a special deal, man.
Yeah, it's a tremendous experience. I can only imagine as a player from either side that you get to experience a wall down the tunnel, on the field, 50-50. Just a beautiful day. I mean, you can say what you want about how old the Cotton Bowl is, but as far as venue, arena, that place is beautiful, man.
Awesome. It's awesome, man. It really is awesome. I mean, just the way it's set up, because you're in the state fair. Like, let alone, the beautiful thing is you win the game and after you go right into the state fair. And it's like, if you choose to. Yeah. Yeah. No, and it serves different, like Grambling, Prairie View play there. Dallas Carter and Dallas Kimball used to play there. I don't know if they do it anymore. But it's historic, man. Even its location, it's historic. You know what I mean? Where it's located at, it's not far away from, if you want to go back, if you want to go back and talk about its historic place and where it's at, if you go down, if you drive down just a little further south, you're actually in a real prominent African American community, and where that part of South Dallas used to be like the Black Wall Street in Oklahoma and Tulsa, or just other. There was very prominent where African Americans were flourishing and doing the things they need to be doing, and just to have a Cotton Bowl right there is, just a whole bunch of historic stuff that goes around. I mean, the state fair connected to it. I mean, I wouldn't want. I mean, if you're a Texas boy, you plan on going to the University of Texas, you circle this date. I tell people all the time. They always ask me, "What do you think about the team?" I say, "Hey, man, I reserve comment till after October 9th. I always do that. Like, I don't want to know about who they lost to early. What's the big win? I don't want to know about all that. Let me know after the 9th. And back in the days, let me know after the 9th and let me know after Thanksgiving. I'll tell you how I'm feeling after the 9th. I'll tell you how I'm feeling after Thanksgiving. But now it's just, let me know after. I'll let you know how I feel after October the 9th. Because that's usually a telltale sign of what type of team. It's either springboards us or it levels us out. Like, oh God, like we got to come rebound from the L of OU, or we take that win from OU, and it just, it's usually how it works for the team.
Yeah, that was a good. That's pretty much accurately describes it right there, because so many times you saw early on Mac Brown lost from what was it, 2000 to 2004. Yeah. And that's back when they were both top 5 material.
Yeah.
And they were rolling. Kwame, before we end this episode of this Red River Rivalry Legends, if you will,
Yeah.
Let's just say hypothetically, you had an opportunity to stand in front of this team in that locker room at the Cotton Bowl, at the top of the tunnel in those locker rooms. How would your pregame speech go?
Tell them what I told my squad when we played. We had just lost to North Carolina State, and this is my junior year. I was one of the captains. We had just lost to North Carolina State. We had beat Rutgers, and we were about to play Stanford. And we needed that dub because we were like 1-1. And, what came to my mind was I got 5 words, and it was, let's go right damn now. And, the whole locker room lit up, and we went out there and beat the crap out of Stanford. So I would just tell them that, because at the end of the day, it's going to be some ups and downs, right? Because this game is about epic flow of emotion. Like, we're going to go down, we're going to go up, we're going to go down, go up. It's like, because, the games that we won there, like, we were down, like, I think it was 99. Stoops came out on fire. And I think Coach Leach was his offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And they came out like trying to put up 100 on us. And we had to hold on, right? So and that's what it's about. So you got to go right now, and right damn now. That would be 5 words. Yeah, trust me, I know, because I actually said in my speech, let's go right damn now, and everybody was like, oh, so like a lot of the players doing on 99. Youngsters, that's what they say to me all the time. Mr. Let's go right damn now. That's like, but I would tell them to guard their emotions, because it's going to be up and it's going to be down. Stay focused, live in the moment, because you don't get these moments back. Trust me, I know. So live in that moment, enjoy the crowd being split half and half, but understand your role in the moment, though. Right, because some of us get in that moment and be like, "Oh, as a friend," I know, like my freshman year, because I dropped 2 passes from James, and all the vets were telling me about this rivalry, about this game, how fast it was going to be. I didn't believe them, and it was actually that fast. And I remember dropping those 2 passes, and it was because I was just caught up in like, oh God, I'm in the Red River Rivalry. It's red and orange, and the crowd is living on every play. You know what I mean? It's like, this experience. So, but that next year, I vowed, like, I'm never gonna have that feeling of, oh God, this is a moment, right? Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna be in the moment. I'm gonna own this moment, and that kind of prepared me for the rest of my career. But that's what I would tell them: hey, let's go right damn now, own this moment, enjoy this moment, but know your role in this moment. And do the best of your abilities. And perform at the best of your abilities, because you can't. It's gonna be on film, and the eye and sky ain't gonna never lie. So make sure you put good film out there.
Kwame, let's go, baby.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Hey! It's 11:35. Oh no! What time is it? It's 12:30. It's 12:35, and it's October the 6th. And OU still sucks. So.
I love you, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, man. No doubt, dog.
Oh, my God.
Anytime, man.
Go back, I challenge all you guys. We're going to be talking to some Sooners tomorrow, but do yourself a favor. Go to YouTube. Look up the 1988 or 1999 Texas OU game. There's this play that was a slip screen, and Kwame was the guy. Sometimes would go untouched 40, 50 yards into the end zone, and they ran that to perfection with Major Applewhite, man. And you guys undefeated during your years against Oklahoma.
Yes, man. Them dreaded Sooners, boy.
Man, it was unreal.
Oh, yeah.
Kwame,
now they all run the screens.
Oh, my God.
Not everybody runs the screen.
They do. It's a slip screen, but I've not seen it executed like that.
Nah, that's different, man. That was special. That's that moment. That's the moment I'm talking about, man. I didn't know that was gonna be a moment. I just knew I wanted to be in the moment. You know what I mean? So
There's
stuff.
a difference. There's a huge difference, you know, that you learn through it's wisdom and experience.
Yeah.
That difference from 97 to 98 for you.
Different. Totally different. You mature. It's a mature phase.
That's the story of life, really.
Yeah. Hey, and if you think about all the greats, I know you got to go, man. But if you think about all the greats, I'm serious. You think about all the greats, bro. They all mature in this game.
Oh.
The greats of Texas, like you see that. Like I remember seeing Ricky going for 300 bills, and I was like, "Oh God, like this is what it looks like," right? I remember seeing Mike Adams do a punt return. Right, and we were like, that's when we were like, who is Mike Adams, right? And it was like, oh, that's Mike Adams, right? Like those type of things. Those legends are born in this game. You find out who are the guys that you'll be talking about for years to come in this one right here. So I'm happy to be a part of that. Happy that you brought me on, man, to say that.
100%.
You've always been a great guy, great reporter, kept it 100. And you did a great job of what you're doing. You're still doing a great job, man. So I respect that, and I respect you for having me on, man. For sure.
Hey, man, it is a lifelong. Hey, man, you got me as a friend for life now, man.
No doubt.
You can't kick me out.
No, I can't. It's on, man. It's on.
Kwame, for the Man Cave Boys, Hardball Hards, Big Mike, and Coach Mo, and for the Hook'em legend, Kwame Cavil, during Red River Rivalry Week. We out.
Yo.